Yo, what's up guys? Today we're gonna talk about the Doombringer. I have made this spreadsheet which has so many builds including Dual Bingo, Bingo Wildfire, Corrosion Bingo, Jaws Bingo, Bingo Doombringer and Melee Tank build. I will provide the link for this sheet in the description. So Doombringer is bullseye. It will highlight the enemy and you will do 8% more damage for 12 seconds. Weapon have 10% crit rate, weak spot damage 25% and crit damage is 30%. So compared to like other weapons that have weak spot damage, for example like Wildfire which have 60% and Bingo have 95% weak spot. But Doombringer only have 25%, that's why we are going for crit build. 30% chance to trigger bullseye when hitting an enemy. This chance raised to 80% when hitting an enemy within 5 meters. So when you are close to the enemy, you will have more chance to trigger the bullseye. Defeating a marked enemy grants 6% attack damage up to 5 stacks. So within a 1 minute, if you defeat 5 people, you will get 30% attack. After triggering bullseye, the damage reduction 5% for 8 seconds up to 4 stacks. So the more you proc the bullseye, the more damage reduction you're gonna get. Next we have crit rate 30% when hitting a marked enemy. So for the weapon mods, I would say you need Hunter's perk, which gonna do 20% less damage to you. For the substat, you need to go for the violent, not precision, even though it's a bullseye weapon. Next, we're gonna talk about the armor pieces. You are going 3-piece Stormweaver, 1-piece Falcon, then you need Earthly Boots. You shouldn't use the old Huntsman because this will do weak spot damage, which we are not focusing on. So once you mark the enemy, which gonna gives you 30% more damage, but you see in the weapon as well, it will give you 30% more crit rate when you mark the enemy. Let's talk about the armor modes. For the helmet, you need to go for the Faithful Strike, which gonna be violent again, which gonna gives you crit rate 10%, crit damage 30%. For the substat, you need to go for violent, which is crit damage. Then you have to focus on somewhat defensive, either weapon damage reduction or status damage reduction. And for the top, you can use the Orange Shield or Endurance Shield or Resist Advantage. It depends on your playstyle, what you prefer and what most of the people you are playing against. And for the bottom, you can go for the Life Force boost, which gonna gives you 12% HP, and also you are going for the violent. And for the shoes, you are going for the Covered Advance, which gonna take no damage for 4 seconds but gonna give you 20% weapon damage for 30 seconds. So for the gloves, you are going for the crit boost, which gonna gives you crit rate. And for the mask, you are going for the Targeted Strike, which gonna gives you crit rate 10% and crit damage 25%. For your stat priority should be crit rate, crit damage, and that's it. And for the defensive stat, you have to balance it out. Either you can go for weapon damage reduction with crit damage and or status damage reduction, depends on what you're missing. Also, I wanna mention that you can get the weapon mode and your mass mode from the events, which gonna gives you can get something like this crit damage on targets with the bullseye. So this is better than the normal crit damage because this one have more crit damage compared to the regular mode. Also for the foot buff, you can go for the Safety Sandwich and you can go for the Iced Tea. Also you can stack the stamina. For example, the bonus effect, if you put something like a rabbit meat, you will get 40% max stamina and you can use the sandwich afterward, which gonna give you the stamina and the safety sandwich core effect, and you will not lose the bonus effect you got from the canned meat even if you just override the core effect. Let's talk about the Cradle. You need to have this one. You can have this, which was a translation error, but now it's actually changed. You can have it just in case. This one and then Bounty Hunter, and also the deviant energy defense if you don't know. So for example, if you use your deviant and just call it back, and you're gonna get the shield on the top of your HP and it will give you 10% status and weapon damage reduction. So also for the secondary, I would say you can use a Bingo, and when you're using a Bingo, I would say just use a blue mod, which gonna gives you crit rate because you're using the Faithful Strike on the weapon, so you wouldn't able to weak spot. So you can go for the crit boost, which gonna gives you 9% crit damage. Weapon gonna have total 11% crit rate. Aside from everything else, there's more chance you can do crit, but the thing is that you will lose 20% defensive stat from the Hunter's perk. But if you're prioritizing your damage, then it's gonna be the blue mode. And for the Wind Poison, you can go for the Living Armor and you can use Arrow Lip. And for the weapon, this calibration is wrong. You need to go for heavy style, or you can go for the light. For example, I got this mod which have mag capacity 12%, so I can use this on the bottom, which gonna gives me one more bullet. So I can use heavy and I can get up to like 4 bullets. But the thing is, I don't play Doombringer. This is a weak spot mod. Need to go for crit damage and weapon damage reduction and mag capacity. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching and peace out.